everybody, it's the War Hipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial from Skaventide. Yes, today we are painting the Lord-Vigilant on Gryph-Stalker, the kind of centerpiece, brilliant, fantastic, large, awesome new Lord Stormcast character from the set. And I'm very, very excited because it looks incredible. And, well, we're going to paint it up in the colours of Hallowed Knights. But before we do that, we have to say a massive thank you to Games Workshop for sending me this one early to build up and paint for all of you as part of the Skaventide box. And so, without further ado, we're going to jump in and we're going to start painting him. He has been primed in Grey Seer. And the colour we're going to be using first is Targor Rageshade. And we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the feathers and the flesh of the Gryph-Stalker. So you just start here. And then work our way around the entirety of the model. So with all that Targor Rageshade applied, we're then going to take some Seraphim Sepia. And we're going to apply this over the top of the feet. We're going to do a little bit of blending here, not too much. I'm just going to take a small amount like that. I'm going to apply this like this over the feet. Going to bring it up the leg just a little bit. Wash the brush. Remove the water. And then just smooth out that transition. Like so. With that Seraphim Sepia applied, we then want to take a little bit of Carroburg Crimson, and around the kind of where the skin meets the feathers, we want to do the same thing but just a little bit less. So we're going to apply the Carroburg Crimson like this around there, wash the brush, remove the water, and give it the blends. Just like that. And do the same thing here. Wash the brush. Touch off the water. Give it the blend. And then we're going to do this over the tail. Like that. Wash the brush, touch off the water, and then give it the blends. We did actually add a little bit of Seraphim Sepia just there as well, I should point out. Let me come round here. This is a slightly tricky part, got to come through the legs. Get this Carroburg Crimson over the top. From this angle we don't need to go through the legs. Just do that like that. Wash the brush. touch off the water. And give it the blends. Like so. Lastly, we're also going to do this over the top of the base of the tail. Like that. Wash the brush. And give it the blends. Like that. Then we just got those other legs to worry about. So with that all done, it's now time to take some Black Legion, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the feathers. Just like this sort of thing. However, when we get to the head, we are in fact going to do a little bit of blending. There we go. So when it comes to the kind of the head, what we need to do is we need to kind of create a two-tone body. So we're going to apply this like so down to around about there, like that. Then we're going to wash the brush, touch off the water, and then we're going to soften the transition. Just like that. And we can do the same thing on the other side. Up to there. Wash the brush. And give it the blends. And then we've got the trickiest bit, which is going to be this whole section. So we're basically going to attack it like that. Wash the brush, touch off the water, and we're going to give it the blends. like so. So with all that Black Legion applied, we're then going to take some Dreadful Visage. And we're going to apply this over the top of the Black Legion and the Targor Rageshade around the areas that we've actually done the blending. So for example around here. So with that Dreadful Visage all applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Stormvermin Fur, and we're going to use this to gently dry brush all of the feathers . Just like this sort of thing. And with that Stormvermin Fur dry brush all applied, we're then going to take some Administratum Grey. We're going to add a really gentle dry brush of this over the top. And so with that Administratum Grey dry brush applied, we're then going to take some Pallid Wych Flesh. And again, it's going to be a little dry brush. And here what we're going to do is we're going to focus on the kind of Targor Rageshade bits. Like that bit around the beak. Like so. We've got these front feathers as well. Like so. And then around the very bottoms of the Black Legion, we also want to add a little bit of the Pallid Wych Flesh like that. But then similarly we are going to dry brush this over the top of the flesh. So with that all done, the actual Gryph-Stalker is, well, pretty much near completion. So what we're going to do is move on to the rest of the colours. So next two is going to be Skeleton Horde and Ratling Grime. We're going to use these over the top of the tusks. No, horns. Those are horns. So we're going to start with Skeleton Horde. I'm going to apply this over the top of the horn, like so. Then we're going to wash the brush, touch off any water, grab a little bit of Ratling Grime, and we're going to apply it towards the base of the horn. Wash the brush one more time, go back to Skeleton Horde, and use that just to soften out the transition between the two colours, like so. Next up, still sticking with Skeleton Horde, what we're going to do is we're going to apply this over the top of the parchment. So with that all done, we're then going to tackle one of the biggest colours on the entire model, and that is going to be all of the blue. So, colour we're going to be using first for this is some Talassar Blue, and we're going to be applying this over the top of the reins, over the top of the large, outside of the large cloak, the saddle blanket, we're going to be applying it over the top of the field of the shield, you can see. Just want to make sure we get the reins done properly, fully. And what we're also going to do is going to apply this along the outside of his chainmail, the trim of the chainmail, just along here like this. Like so. Just whilst we're waiting for all that Talassar Blue to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Legion and we're going to apply this over the top of the, well, it's kind of like a skirt of the Lord-Vigilant itself. Like so. And whilst we're here, we're also going to apply this over the top of the boots. So with that all done, and the Talassar Blue is now dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Ultramarines Blue. We're going to apply this over the top. Now don't worry if it's a bit patchy in places, we are going to fix it a little bit later. Especially on the large cloak. So with all that Ultramarines Blue applied, like I said, don't worry if it's a little bit patchy on the back of the cloak. Mine certainly is, but it's going to be okay because we're going to be able to fix that a little bit later. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take some Blood Angels Red, and we're going to apply this over the top of this kind of large strap, what I guess it is. But whilst we're here, we're also going to apply the Blood Angels Red over the top of the grip of the axe. And so with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors, and we're going to apply this over top of all of the armour, well, all of the smooth plate armour. Like so. We're also going to apply this over the top of the papery bit. Well, it looks like paper, but it's not. On the Gryph-Stalker's chest plate. Like so. And we're also going to apply it over the top of the twin-tailed comet on the Gryph-Stalker's head. Like so. And of course, we're also going to apply this over the top of the axe blade. So with all of that silver applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Cygor Brown, and we're going to apply this over the top of all of the straps and all of the leather, and this is going to include the entirety of the saddle. So with all that Cygor Brown applied, we're then going to take two colours, Frostheart and Black Templar, and we're going to apply them over the top of the flame. So we're going to start with Frostheart, and we're going to apply this all over the top. Like that. Then we're going to wash the brush, get rid of the water, grab a little bit of Black Templar, and then from the top we're going to apply the Black Templar like that, wash the brush, and return once more to Frostheart. And then we just use that to blend the two colours together. Like so. And so with that then done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour. And we're going to apply this over, well, all of our remaining solid metallic details, including the mail. So with all of that Retributor Armour applied all the way around, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Seraphim Sepia and we're going to apply this to the inside of the cloaks. And so with that then done, we're going to start adding some shades. Because the first thing we're going to do in terms of shading is we're going to take some Nuln Oil and we're going to apply this over top of what will be the white details. So we've got the little rondel just here, like that. We do actually have the big face on the shield, as some of you can probably see right there. I have got mistakes all over mine, but that's okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to neaten them up later when we take it to the next level. However, in addition to the white details, what we're now going to do with the Nuln Oil is we're going to use this to shade all the silver and all the black. So with all that Nuln Oil applied, we're then going to take some Gore-Grunta Fur. I'm going to use this over the top of the chain mail. And so with that then done, we're going to take some Guilliman Flesh and we're going to use this to shade the red and the gold. And so with that then done, Got one more shade to apply, which is going to be some Agrax Earthshade. We're going to apply this over top of the mail, just to give it that slightly darker, more grimy feel. Like that sort of thing. However, we are also going to apply this over the top of the horns. Again, just to pull those colours together and add a little bit more depth. So with that done, our Lord-Vigilant on Gryph-Stalker is now what I would call a War Hipster battle ready. However, we're not going to leave it there. No, we're going to take it to the next level, and we're going to do this by adding one more shade and a couple of layers and a couple of highlights. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add that extra shade, and this is going to be some Black Templar. But what we're going to do is we're going to thin it down with sort of 3 or 4 parts Lamia medium, and we're going to apply this to the areas that we want to be really dark on the armour. So we're looking at recesses here, like that. Apply it over the top of that whole armour panel there, like so. Apply it over the top of that as well. For example, I'm going to go over the top of this hip plate here, underside of the thigh, back here as well. Right under there. You're going to apply this over the helmet as well. Like that. And we're also going to apply this over the runic part of the axe. Like that. And then over the axe blade itself, what we're going to do is from this kind of bottom part here, we're going to apply the mix like that. Wash the brush, touch off the water, give it a little blend like that. So with that Black Templar and Lamia medium mix applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Leadbelcher. We're going to use this to add some brightness into our large flat panels, but not all of them. So what we're going to do is here, for example, on the chest, we're going to apply the Leadbelcher like that. Apply it over the top of the other one as well. Like so. We'll apply it over the rondely bit as well. Like so. We're going to apply some of this over the forehead of the helmet. like that. We'll apply some over the thigh plate. Like that. We'll go over the top of this shin as well. Over the top of the boot too. Like so. Do a little bit over the gauntlet. Just there. And there. Over that part of the thumb. Like that. And then over the axe we take most of it off, and then from the opposite end we're just going to kind of feather it on. You can wash the brush. And take off the water. To kind of blend it a little bit more. Like that. Again, take most of it off my brush. And do it on the opposite side. Like that sort of thing. With all that Leadbelcher applied, we're going to continue with the relayering, because what we're going to do now is we're going to take some thinned down Liberator Gold. I'm going to use this to create a lot of variation in the gold. So we're going to relayer this fully over the top of quite a few different panels. So we're looking for the flat parts of the Gryph, so that bit there we've just done, as well as all of this kind of flat bit in here as well. Like so. We're going to do this over the top of the Gryph's head armour. So in here. Again, just trying our best to avoid any recesses or where that Guilliman Flesh is really settled. Like that sort of thing. And of course we want to go around here as well. Basically all of that flat part of the head. On our Lord, we want to do this over the top of the knee. The gorget. This back plate. Back here. And the large shoulder. Like that sort of thing. I mean, we are going to do more, but what we'll also do is on the shield, we're going to do the trim as well. And so with that then done, I've got another relayer for you, which is going to be some thinned down Corax White. And we're going to use this to relayer the inside of the cloak. Again, just avoiding any of the recesses. However, what we're also going to do here is we're going to use this to relayer the white of our shield. Like that. We don't need to do this bit because it's quite small details. And so with that Corax White applied, we've then got one last relayer to do, which is going to be some Kantor Blue, which we're going to thin down with 4 or 5 parts water. And we're going to use this to basically glaze out any mistakes that we need to on the big cloak. Now you can do this over top of all of the blue details if you want, but it should just be the cloak that needs it. So with that done, we're now finally finished with all of the relayers, but as you can see, it really just kind of massively pulls the model together. It starts making it look even better than it did before. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start the highlighting process. And the first of these is going to be some thinned down iron breaker. I'm going to use this to highlight every single silver detail on the model. So with all that iron breaker applied, it's looking pretty cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on. We're going to take a roughly 2 parts Stormhost Silver to 1 part Retributor Armour mix. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our gold. So with that done, it's insane how much highlighted gold really pulls the model together. Anyway, we're going to move on now, and we're going to move on to the blue. The colour we're going to be using to highlight all of the blue is some thinned down Hallowed blue. So with all that Hallowed blue applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Fenrisian grey. I'm going to add this to the sharpest points as a little spot highlight. So with that all done, we're then going to move on to the next colour, which is going to be some thinned down Eshin Grey. I'm going to use this to highlight the black cloth and the beak of the Gryph-Stalker. That Eshin Grey applied, we're then going to take a small amount of Dawnstone and we're going to apply this to the sharpest points in the black. So with that Dawnstone applied, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Evil Sun's Scarlet, and what we're going to do is we're going to add little dots in each corner of the Gryph-Stalker's eyes, leaving some black in the middle. That sort of thing. But what we're also going to do with the Evil Sun Scarlet is we're going to use this to highlight the red strappy type thing. We don't need to worry about the axe. So with that now done, what we can do is we can take some thinned down white scar. We're going to use this to highlight our white details. And with that white scar now all applied, we're going to take some thinned down Kantor Brown. We're going to use this to highlight our brown. With that Kantor Brown applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Carak Stone. I'm going to use this to highlight the horns. So with that Carak Stone applied, we're then going to take some Tyran Blue and we're going to use this over the top of our flames. Just add a little bit of a hint of extra blue in there. So with that all done, it is now time to add a little bit of that blue glow that you see scattered around the place on the box art. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Baharoth Blue, and we're going to thin it down with sort of 4 parts water. And what we're going to do here is we're going to drop this into things like the runes like that. We're also going to drop it into each of his eyes. Like so. And we've got two of these little loony bits. One here. And one up here. So with that now done, we actually added a little bit of it to the kind of tips of the flames here, towards the, well, closest part of the base of the flames. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take some Blood Angels Red, and we're going to apply this over the top of what I think is the only gem. I haven't seen any more on my travels after all. Yeah, I think that's it for gems. So with that all done, there's just one last thing left to do on our Lord-Vigilant, which is to take some Cygor Brown. I'm going to use this to add some little tiny lines of script over the parchment. So our Lord-Vigilant is now all finished, so all we have to do is his base. And we're going to start out by taking some Stirland Mud, and we're going to apply this over top of all the negative space, rather than doing what we normally do, which is painting all of the stuff and then put the texture on. We'll start with the texture, because it's 4 AM and I need to go to bed. So I'm going to leave this to dry overnight. So with all that Stirland Mud applied, and after a good night's sleep, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Black Templar, and we're going to apply this over top of all the rocks. And so with that Black Templar done, we're then going to take some Tyrant Skull, and we're going to dry brush this over the top of the entirety of the base. It's really that easy. And so with that base now finally complete, we are off and running with our Skaventide painting videos with the Lord-Vigilant on Gryph-Stalker, and I absolutely love this miniature, unsurprisingly. It's Stormcast. It's a Stormcast hero honoured mount, so I'm always going to love it. Of course I am, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to see what else we're going to get for the Stormcast. I'm very, very excited right now. Very excited. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, you absolutely can do so by heading to patreon.com/warhipster, just like all of these wonderful, amazing people have done. And alternatively, you could become a YouTube channel member by clicking on the join button below, exactly like these fabulous folks have done, scrolling up on the screen before you. There are so many of you out there that it really takes my breath away, and I cannot thank you enough for everything you do, as without you I wouldn't be able to keep making these Contrast Plus videos. And if you really like this video and you want to send me a little thanks, just click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.